Hello everyone and welcome to another Stormworks video. In this video I'm going to show you how you can add your own creations to the AI script here in Stormworks. I'm going to show you how you can get your vehicle prepared, how you can go and create a new mission, and also how you can go and test it here in Stormworks. Now we're going to be breaking it into three different sections. The first one is going to show you how to add a boat into the AI boat script. The next one is going to be how to add a helicopter into the AI aircraft, and also how to add a plane into the AI aircraft script. So three different sections. If you want to learn that specific section, just use the timestamps in the video description and you can jump over to that section. Now the first thing we need to do is we need to get the vehicle actually prepared and ready for AI scripting. So we're going to go and jump straight into the workbench. Now just in front of me I've got a little bit of an example of a boat. Obviously we know this is not a boat, but it's got every control that we need for the script on it. Now the first thing you want to make sure is when you are using your own vehicles, you want to make sure they are as simple as possible. Remember, the AI script are real vehicles, which means that it's actually spawning real vehicles in. So adding more and more vehicles will go and obviously cut your performance here in games. You want to make it as simple as possible. Now you can do that by removing extra bodies, so things on pivots. You can also do that by using a physics flutter. And you can also do that by using just very simple physics objects here in Stormworks. Now that we've got that out of the way, let's actually get this creation all set up and ready to add into our own little mission. So the first thing you want to do is you want to make sure that you go over to the seat of the creation. This is the main seat that actually goes and drives your creation. So for right now, we're doing a boat. So we're going to click on it. So we're going to go over to our display name and we're going to make sure that we set this as our captain. Once we've got that set as our captain, we can scroll down and we can go over to where it says AI. At the bottom here where it says AI, we're going to switch this over to ship pilot. This tells the AI script to control this vehicle and also that it's a ship. Once we've got that done, the actual script will go and start setting things on the seat. Now those things that it goes and sets is the A&D, which is for our steering. We also have our WNS, which will be throttle. It also has 1, which is start, and also has 2, which is stop. Once we've got these controls on, you want to make sure that your A&D and WNS are on reset, and also that your 1 and 2 can either be on push or on toggle. It's up to you. I'm going to be setting it on push for our example right now. Once we've got that done, we can now start connecting that over to all the logic that we need here in game. Now you'll see that on my creation, I've got steering for a rudder. I've got some propellers with some electrical engines on them. I've got a relay for my electricity. And I've also got an SR latch and a battery. Now what's happening is the battery is going through to the relay. And then once it gets an on signal, it's then sending electricity over to my electrical engines and also my rudder. Now we can connect everything from our seat to the rest of our creation. So we remember that our WNS was for our throttle. So we're going to connect that directly to our throttle. We also have our A&D, which remember was for our steering. So we're going to connect that over to our steering. The next thing we have is 1 and 2. 1 was to start the creation and 2 was to stop the creation. I like to use an SR latch for this. So we're going to connect 1 over to the set and 2 over to the reset. Once it gets set, it's going to output and it's going to turn this relay on, meaning that it's now sending electricity through the relay over to our propellers and also to our rudder. So now that we have the creation all set up and ready, we make sure that we go and click on the save. We can go and save this as any name you want. I'm going to go and call it my AI boat example. Once I've gone and saved that, I can now close out of the vehicle editor. Make sure you press the escape key, and now we're going to go over to our add-on editor. Once we're in our add-on editor, we can go and call the add-on whatever we would like. So for example, NJ AI test boat. We then are going to go down to where we have mission locations. We're going to add a new location, and that's going to be the ocean. Once we're on that, we can then go to edit objects. We can go and find our vehicle and add it on. So we're going to go add vehicle. We're going to go and select our AI boat example. We're going to go and place it in the center of our actual location here. The next thing you want to do is you want to select the vehicle. Once we've selected the vehicle, we want to go into the tags and we want to type here type equals AI underscore boat. It's very important that you go and add this in here. Once you've gone and done that, you don't need to touch any of the other settings. We can then go and add a character. So you can add this wherever you want, possibly even here. Once you've selected your character, we want to go and make sure that we name this the captain. So we're going to go and write captain in the tag and captain in the display name. Once you've got that on, you can now go and save this mission. So we're going to go and save it. Let's go and call it MrNJ Boat AI add-on. And we're going to click on the save button. Now, in order to actually add this creation to the AI script, all we have to do is close our game, go and start a brand new game, and make sure that we go and select this as a new script. So once you're back on the main menu, click on new game, make sure you go to enable add-ons, and you have of course got the default AI already selected, but then you can go into your saved, you can go and find your new mission that you've just gone and created. Once you've gone and found it, you can select it, you can go back to the menu, and you can start a brand new save. That creation has now been added into that AI script for you. So now you have a possibility of seeing that while you're driving around or flying around in the world of Stormworks. So we're back in the workbench, and now we're going to learn how we can add a helicopter into the AI script. Once again, the first thing we need to do is we need to prepare the creation for the AI script. Now, once again, you want to make sure that your physics are as simple as possible. You can also use the physics flutter here. Now, a couple of things to just take into note here is that, of course, the AI script is going to use this vehicle, but when it spawns this vehicle in the middle of the air, it doesn't just spawn it already flying. It spawns it and it has to get everything started up and actually moving. So whatever you're going to add in or create, you want to make sure that it can get up to a certain speed as quickly as possible. Okay, so using electrical engines or using a jet engine that can quickly go up to a certain RPS is very advisable here. Also, making sure that you use a gyro is very, very important. The AI script will not know how to actually control a creation unless it has a gyro for a helicopter, for our example right now. Great, so once again, the first thing we need to do is we need to go to select, we need to go to our seat, and this time we're going to be calling it the pilot. Once we've got the pilot on, we're going to scroll down and we're going to go to our AI type, and we're going to make sure that we got helicopter pilot selected. Once again, the next thing we need to do is we need to do our controls. Very similar to before, we've got 1 which is start, we've got 2 which is stop, we've got A and D which is actually going to be your roll now, we've got W and S which is going to be our pitch, we've got left and right which is going to be our yaw, and lastly we've got an up and down which is going to be our collective. Okay, so very important that you make sure that you've got the same settings here. Okay, once you've got these settings on, we can of course now go and get everything connected. So once again, I'm going to do a very similar example like we did for the boat. I'm going to be using a relay for our start and stop. We've also got a gyro, we've got a tail rotor, a main rotor, and we've got an electrical engine. So the first thing we want to do is let's connect our electricity. So we're going from our battery over to our relay, and from our relay over to our motor, over to our gyro, and over to our electrical engine over here. Once we've got that done, we can now start connecting our nodes. So remember, we have 1 to start it, so we're going to go over to our set. 2 is going to go over to our reset. Make sure once again that those are on push, because that's what we're using here for our SR latch. We then can start connecting our seat over to our gyro. So we've got W and S, which was pitch. So we're going to connect that over to our pitch. We've got up and down, which was our up and down collective. Left and right, which was our yaw. And we've also got A and D, which is our actual roll here. You want to make sure that you've also got your SR latch over to your gyro to go and turn it on, and also over to your actual relay, turn the electricity on. make sure the auto hover is enabled for helicopter for AI. It's once again very important. Once we've got that done, we can now start connecting everything over. So we're going to go over and connect our stabilized roll over to the roll of the rotor. We're going to connect our yaw over to the motor of the yaw. We're going to connect our pitch over to the pitch of the rotor. And we're going to go and connect our stabilized up and down to our collective. Along with that, we can make sure that we have the right settings on our actual rotors and also on our gyro. This is up to you to test this to make sure that it works correctly. Maybe it's too sensitive, maybe it's not sensitive enough. Once again, I'm making sure that this is going to be on neutral because I'm using my collective. And I'll also have here, which is going to be my tail rotor. I'm going to make sure that that is on positive because I'm using a motor over here. Now the last thing I haven't connected is my motor for my main actual rotor. So I'm just going to go and put a simple constant number there. Okay, and I'm going to say that that always runs at, for example, 0.7. Once again, you need to make sure you go and test your creation. This is not a tutorial on how to build a creation. It's how to adapt it to the AI script. So once we've got all that set up, once again, we can go and save our vehicle. So we can call this our AI helicopter example. We make sure we save that. We close out of the editor. We go back into our mission editor or add-on editor. This time we're going to go and name this. Let's call this our AI helicopter example. We're going to go to add locations. We're going to go to ocean. We're going to go and click on edit objects. We're going to go and find the center of that, find our location and also our example. So there's my example right over there. We're going to make sure we select it again, go into here and say type equals AI underscore helicopter. Once we have that all set, the next thing we need to do is we need to, of course, go and place a character down. Once we've got the character, we're going to name this our pilot. And there we go. Nothing else that you have to do. Make sure you click on the save. We're going to save this and call this the NJ helicopter add-on. Perfect. And make sure you save that. Once again, you can now close out of the game and you can go and add that as a default mission when you start a brand new save. So once you're back on the main menu, click on New Game. Make sure you go to Enable Add-ons and you have, of course, got the default AI already selected. But then you can go into your saved, you can go and find your new mission that you've just gone and created. Once you've gone and found it, you can select it. You can go back to the menu and you can start a brand new save. That creation has now been added into that AI script for you. So now you have a possibility of seeing that while you're driving around or flying around in the world of Stormworks. And moving on to the last part, which is how to add a plane into the AI script. Now the first thing once again is you want to make sure that your creation is of course working and you've gone and tweaked and made sure it flies correctly. Once you've gone and done that, try and reduce the physics. Remember, remove bodies, use a physics floater, whatever you can to try and reduce the physics of the actual creation. The next thing is we can obviously go and start the setup. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go over to our seat and we're going to name this our pilot. Once we've got the pilot, we can scroll down and we can now tell the creation that this is a AI plane. Once we've gone and done that, we have very similar controls as what we did before. So once again, one is to start the creation. So one is start. We also have two, which is stop the creation. We have A and D, which is going to be our roll. We have our W and S, which actually is going to be our pitch. We also have left and right, which is going to be our yaw. And we have up and down, which is actually going to be our collective once again. Okay, but instead of going up and down like a helicopter, this time collective makes it go forwards or backwards. Okay. Once we've got that all set up, we can start connecting the logic. So once again, we're going to start with our electric. We're going to go from our battery into our relay, and then from our relay over to all of our different actual things that we need electricity on. Once we've got that set, we can now start on the data. So just like before, we're going to go 1 into the set, 2 into the reset, 1 into the output, and now we can start connecting our seat to the different objects. WNS is going to be for our pitch, so we're going to connect that over to the things that control our pitch. So these are the rudders that are controlling my pitch. We also have up and down, so that's forwards and backwards collective. So we're going to be using the collective of there on the rotor. We also have our A and D, which is going to be for roll, so we're going to connect those to our rudders on the wings. And we're going to connect our left and right, which is the rudder at the back for our yaw. Okay. The last thing I need is, of course, to go onto my throttle and make sure it's got a constant number for my throttle to always be going on my aircraft. Once I've got that number on, I'm going to set this as 1, full power, and it's going to go over to my throttle over here. Okay, and then the collective is going to change depending on what the AI script wants it to do. Okay, and we're going to do that as a neutral. Okay, so once you have that, once again, you can go and save this. We're going to call this our AI plane example. Save it up. So now we can close the vehicle editor and we can go and open up our add-on editor. We can create a brand new add-on once again. So this is going to be the NJ plane AI example. We're going to go into mission locations. We're going to add an ocean on. We're going to go into edit objects, go into the center of our screen once again, find our example plane, add it in. Once we add it in, we're going to select it. We're going to make sure that we do type equals AI underscore aircraft. Once we've done that, we can now go and add our character, place the character down, click on it, and call it your pilot. Okay, so that's the last thing you need to go and do. Once you've done that, you can now click on the save. You can save the script. So we're going to call this the NJ plane add-on, and make sure that we close the game off. We go and start a brand new save, and we select that as a mission. So once you're back on the main menu, click on new game. Make sure you go to enable add-ons, and you have of course got the default AI already selected, but then you can go into your saved. You can go and find your new mission that you've just gone and created. Once you've gone and found it, you can select it. You can go back to the menu and you can start a brand new save. That creation has now been added into that AI script for you. So now you have a possibility of seeing that while you're driving around or flying around in the world of Stormworks. So that's how you can go and add 3 different types of vehicles into the AI script. You can add an AI plane, an AI helicopter, and also an AI boat. Now this pretty much makes options completely endless on what you want. You can create small little things, you can create really big like aircraft carriers, you could do refueling planes, you can do a bunch of different things that you can add into this AI script, which is really pretty cool. Just remember that they will obviously still act like AI vehicles. They will still fly around on their path. Helicopters will still take off and land at certain locations in the world, and boats will obviously go and drive to their certain locations that they are set in the AI script. So hopefully you guys have enjoyed this video and found it something entertaining and informative as always. If you have, smash that like button, also hit that subscribe button and click that bell icon to be notified of my upcoming content as soon as it gets posted. And until the next one, we will see you then.